Today's episode is presented by MusicBed and brideandgroom.video.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is Nick Miller and I am joined today on this wonderful Monday, this wonderful spring day, Mr. John Bunn. John, how are you doing today?
Nick, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I don't feel like you're obliged to do that just because we're recording a podcast together. But Nick, I'm doing really well. As of the dropping of this episode, I will have just been flying back from a really great wedding out on the East Coast that I've been talking about for a while. Really excited to get out there and film it. Obviously, we're recording before that wedding, but spring is here. The summer, wedding season is almost here for a lot of us. I've been hearing a lot in our Facebook group and a lot from people that bookings are picking up, that it feels like kind of turning a corner. So I'm really excited. We just finished with our course launch, had a handful of people join, which was great. Thank you to those that joined. And then we finished our series on A Secret to Sales, and today we're starting a new series. So I'm in a great mood. All my weddings this year are incredible. I'm excited to get out and travel, and really this weekend kind of kicks all that off for me. What's new with you?
Oh, just been over here. I've been, over the last few weeks, been recording stuff and updating stuff in our course. Been tackling our editing section and getting that all updated and new and fresh. And so that's an exciting addition to the course, is some editing stuff. And I've been, getting that knocked out pretty well over the last couple of weeks is what I've been doing, along with, getting the course stuff and all of that. And John, we are starting a new series today all about Instagram, how Instagram is the best. But before we hop in and start talking about that, I want to mention our outsourcing partners over at howtofilmweddings.com/outsource. I said that weird. howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing. There is your premier place where you can find our vetted outsourcing partners. And we know before the year gets crazy and the year gets going, you might want to reach out to any of those partners. I know some of them are fuller than others, so make sure that you reach out to them and talk to them so that you can get that backlog off of your plate and get it to somebody else so that you can focus on running your business and doing all the things that are business that you need to do, right? Like Instagram, which we're going to talk about today. So again, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing to check out our vetted partners. John, as we shift over into talking about the wonderful topic of Instagram that many people have a love-hate relationship with, we are just asking the question on this podcast today: how important is Instagram in 2024? John, why don't you get us started? What do you think of that question?
Yeah. The reason that we've kind of titled this Instagram is the best/worst, I think so, is because it's this necessary evil for most of us. And we're going to be coming from the perspective of somebody that is wanting to grow their business, somebody that isn't necessarily already crazy established. And kind of walk through in this series what we think about Instagram, what it's become, how important it actually is. Spoiler alert, I do feel like it's one of the most important tools that wedding filmmakers could use. I'm not going to say you have to use it. There's other ways to be successful, but this is a pretty free, for the most part, tool that gives you the ability to reach the world. And that just didn't exist 5 years, 10 years ago. And so Instagram is very important in 2024, whether you're established or not, but especially if you're in that first few years of your brand and you're really trying to grow your brand, you're really trying to reach your ideal couples, your ideal vendors that you want to see you. It's a really great place for you to show off what you do, as Instagram has moved much more into a video first platform. This is very good for us, but also on the other hand, there's a lot of stuff to know and to be thinking about, and it can get overwhelming. So in this series, we're kind of going to break down a lot of all of that, some of the strategies we're thinking about, how to make it the best for you, how to not spend all your time on Instagram. And so the first question, like you asked, Nick, is how important is Instagram in 2024? It's very important. And I think that it would be great to start the series with kind of talking about what is Instagram right now. What is it in 2024? Nick, when you think about Instagram and the evolution of Instagram from a photo only with a couple of filters platform that came out early 2010s to where it's at now with billions of users, and most people spending, especially most of our ideal clients spending their time on it. What is Instagram in 2024?
Instagram in 2024 is definitely a video app now. They have taken a lot from TikTok, and they have taken a lot of their ideas, and they couldn't buy TikTok, so they just decided to make their own over there. And I think that a couple of years ago, I think it really came out that the president, the runner of Instagram, said we are now a video first app. But before they were a photo first app. And I think that as we switch, as that shift has happened, video content is being shared more. Video content is what people are consuming. Video content is what people want. I'm not saying that there isn't an intentional purpose for having photos and stills and that sort of stuff on Instagram, but video is the direction that it is going and is going to go for the foreseeable future, and which is great for us as wedding filmmakers because we do video. I remember whenever Instagram introduced video. John, do you remember this? It was like in 2012, 2013, and you could do 15 seconds and that was it. And now look how far we've come where you can do a minute and a half and only video and all sorts of stuff, cool stuff that you can do. So I am excited about that, like as a wedding filmmaker, that it is a video first app now, that we can upload and we can share the content that we work on and that we know, and we have a leg up on a lot of the competition, other businesses, I guess, because we have that knowledge of video. So John, what do you have to add about what Instagram is currently in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, when they added video, it was like 15-second videos, and then like they pushed it to 1 minute, and then they pushed it to where you could do vertical, or they pushed it to where you, like, it's changed so much over the years. But if you're starting your wedding film business now with this tool, understanding that Instagram is a marketing tool for your brand and a necessary evil for most of us to understand well and to understand how to play the game that is Instagram, all while meeting the ethos of our actual brand and not selling out to the man. So there's like this balance. Instagram has become TikTok 2.0. Most people are spending their time on the Reels tab, and most of the time people are sending like the number one used function of Instagram is actually the DM function. And it has become an extension of having somebody's phone number or having direct contact with people. You can get in touch, especially in the wedding industry, with pretty much anyone that you want to. If you send us an Instagram DM today, we'll respond and say, hey, and it will be us. Like, that is a point of connection that we didn't have even 5-10 years ago. And so understanding what it is and how it works is really important. And as all apps want to suck you into the ecosystem and then take your time. I mean, that's the goal. And we don't, like, it's a hard balance because we don't want to just steal people's time, but also we want them to see that our product exists. And so, like, for me, I set my phone on do not disturb a lot. I try not to spend a lot of time on Instagram because influencers bother me and all the stuff about Instagram bothers me. But also I create content for Instagram because that's where my couples are. And so there's this back and forth always for me where it's just like, how can I do this in a way where I'm not consuming all the time, but I'm understanding what it is. And so most people are spending their time on the Reels, and they're scrolling through their feed and seeing the people they follow alongside suggested Reels, and the app is trying to get you kind of sucked into the internet and be stuck there for a while and doom scroll. That's not what we're trying to do, but also for me, understanding that helps me to be like, well, what kind of things should I put on Instagram? When we started this podcast, it was very different than where it's at today. It used to be perfect. You had to have a curated feed. You had to have, like your grid was really important. All these things were very important. And depending on your specific brand, that is still very important. But for the most part, it's more about creating content that reaches your audience in the form of short videos that then will get them to go to your website. And that's kind of the idea. This is the front yard. This is the curb appeal to your brand. And so that to me is what Instagram is in 24. It's a mainly video app that wants people to get sucked into the internet for a long time. That is a great place for you to connect with other vendors, other people, and a great place if you understand the tools to get people to be aware of your brand, walking them all the way through your funnel to being on your website. And so to me, that's Instagram in 2024. Nick, anything else you want to add since I was talking for a bit on that?
Yeah, the thought that came to my mind is, we have seen a lot of iterations of Instagram, since we started doing this, 10 plus years ago over the last decade. And I think the biggest theme that I want to harp back on is you really need to adapt in your business or your business might die. And Instagram, this is one of those themes specifically. I remember whenever we first started How to Film Weddings in 2017, 2018, I put out some content about how you need to be making vertical videos for your Instagram feed. And I remember, John, I got so much pushback. People like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And now, like vertical video, and it wasn't even like full screen vertical video. You can only go a certain amount of the screen. And now like vertical video is the thing, right? And we're probably going to make a shift back to horizontal. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but the idea is that we really need to adapt to what the apps are doing and play the game that the apps are doing. And I think that is one of the kind of shifting into some of the mistakes that we see is that whenever new features come out or new things to do, is people like, nope, I'm too old. I'm a dinosaur. I'm not going to learn that. I'm not going to do that. Well, that could be the beginning of the end for you whenever it comes to you. I'm not saying that, you're out of luck and, you're gone and your business is going to implode or anything like that. Like, that's not exactly what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is over time, if you don't keep up with where the app is going and what it is doing and how it is being used among your people and how it is being used among consumers, then that is going to be a major flaw and a major mistake in your brand in the long run. Now you might be able to get by for a few months, but in 2 years, if you're still doing stuff, from 2022 in 2027, like it might not work for you.
Yeah, and one of the things I would like to throw out as well is we're not here trying to tell you need to be on Instagram all day, every day. I saw a post the other day from Josh with a little long distance saying that he posts one time per month. And that's really on brand for his brand of a little long distance of being with family and being unplugged and living off the land and like all the stuff that he does. But he's still using it. But then also he said at the end of the clip, and this was on Jimmy's podcast with Second Society, was just talking about he has built a business that affords him the ability to do that now. And so he's put in the work to where, okay, there's enough people that know he exists. There's enough people on his email list or planners or whatever that he doesn't have to use Instagram. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of us make is we don't look at our brand specifically. We hear a clip like that and it's just, I think that's really good advice and from Josh, but at the same time, maybe you're new in your brand. Well, this is a crazy good tool if you use it properly. And that's kind of where I'm at, is wanting to caution people from spending 5 minutes here or there on Instagram every day, but really being focused and intentional about how and when you use Instagram, when you're going to be doing research, as in scrolling through reels. And the first real common mistake that I'm seeing people is just not using Instagram at all. They're not using it for their brand at all. They're not getting on there and understanding what's working. You're not needing to spend 5 hours a day scrolling through, seeing what the algorithm is spitting out. But at the same time, like for me, I will spend about 15 minutes a day, some days more, but about 15 minutes a day on the Reels tab. And I will scroll through and I will save videos that I feel like are doing a good job, or the trends that I'm seeing, and I think to myself, how can I take these things and apply them to John Bunn Films or How to Film Weddings and use them for, repurpose the idea or the thing, or seeing a lot. Like one of the things I've been seeing a lot lately is people like wedding photographers or videographers just sitting in their car and saying, like, offering a hook or a question, like, you're missing out on this thing at your wedding. And they will say the question, and then they will say, my name's John Bunn. I'm a wedding filmmaker that's been doing this for 17 years. And here is the thing that I keep seeing people do, or whatever. And it's like helpful content. It's not highly produced. And if I'm not using Instagram at all, I'm not seeing that kind of stuff is really resonating with the audience. And so not using it at all, being like, I'll get to that later. I think it's really important to just take steps and start and look at your calendar and say, I'm going to spend time on Monday from 8 to 10 researching Instagram and putting together content, or one little step each week. So not using Instagram at all is a very common mistake that we see.
Yeah. And if you're not using Instagram because you don't have any ideas or you're not sure what to post or anything, if you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Instagram, we have 10 Instagram prompts for building your Instagram audience. So a little free download, 10 prompts there over at howtofilmweddings.com/Instagram. Another mistake that John and I see a lot is just trying to get views for the sake of views. And while it is so wonderful and it's so fun sometimes for your clip to go viral and to have lots of comments and lots of people checking it out, everyone that we have talked to that has had a viral Instagram reel or a viral TikTok reel or something go off where they grew their followers by hundreds or thousands of people, within a short time span, every single one of them I have talked to said, I love it because it makes my number bigger, but I hate it because now I have an audience that is not my people. And so if you are just searching numbers, you are not speaking directly to your client, you could potentially have a problem there in reaching the people that you want to reach eventually. Now, if you are speaking to your ideal client and then a video goes off and it's viral and it's amazing, like that's great. And then you can deal with that. But if you are searching views just to get views, we would caution you not to do that. Yes, there is validity to having a bigger number next to your name when it comes to the number of followers you have. But if you have built that just by going viral and people, following you because you had a viral video or something like that, like, John, really, what's the difference in that in buying bots? Like, it's kind of the same thing, and it's going in the long run going to hurt you, not help you.
Yeah, and I think that point, the whole getting views for views' sake, a lot of us, it's so hard to not want to get that big number next to our name. But I can guarantee you 1,000 real followers is going to be way better than 10,000 just fringe level followers that followed you because there was one video that went viral. And, if you're going to be putting stuff out there, and we're going to get into strategy in one of the next couple episodes, but if you're a person that wants to do very intentional, like nostalgic kind of family-based wedding films, you don't want to be like showing a viral clip of a dude taking a hit from a bong and then jumping off of a second-story window into a pool or something. Like, that's just not going to match. But if there's a moment where there's a really sweet father-daughter first look, and that's something that could go viral. Well, there you go. That fits. But people out there just trying to be like, oh, well, that's trending, and they're just going to and fro on whatever wave that is happening right then just to get the views and the clicks and the likes. Those don't turn into real bookings most of the time. And so trying to get views for views' sake is a huge mistake that we see. The next one that I see with common mistakes, Nick, is that people are afraid to show their personality. And Instagram's done a really good job of making it easy for you to infuse your personality. They like that. They want videos that are more you in front of your camera. If you're not super excited about being in front of the camera, you could set up a little time lapse of you working at your desk. You could set up a little video of you while you're out with a couple, or you could where you're not talking, but it's just footage of you, and you can use text prompts or things like that. Or in your stories, you can show your day-to-day life. You can show what's going on, what you're excited about, and keep your feed a little more professional. There's a lot of ways to go about this, but what is your strategy for showing your personality, and why does that matter? The reason it matters is couples are more than ever really caring about who it is behind the camera, because they want to know who's going to be at their wedding day. Can I see this person at my wedding? How will they fit in at my wedding? Are they going to be awkward? So the more that you can show who you are, even if you are awkward, which is great, you might attract somebody that's like, oh, they're like me. They're awkward like me. They're quirky like me. They're, whatever. Or you might repel the wrong people who are like, ooh, I don't want someone like that at my wedding. That's fine. Showing off yourself in the best light possible looks different for different people. For me, as I'm trying to charge a little bit more, I'm not going to show myself being too crazy, even though that's a part of my personality on my John Bunn Films page. But on the How to Film Weddings page, I'll show myself being a little more laid back, because that is who I want to be here on the podcast. And so personality is real important. You can show that with you being in front of the camera. You can show it in your stories. You can show it on your captions. You can show it on the kinds of posts that you're putting out there. But thinking through, how do I want to show my personality in Instagram is very important for us. Nick, anything to add on that?
Yeah. And I like how now as Instagram has shifted, it's a lot easier to show your personality. Again, 4 years ago, it was all about the feed and making it curated and making it nice. And you could kind of show your personality in your stories or something like that was kind of the advice that people had. But now as we've shifted into more reels and that kind of stuff, the feed doesn't matter as much. Or you can do cover photos and make your feed still look nice, but then have this personal content right under it, which is really, really nice. And this, I think, leads into our last problem, or our last mistake that we see a lot, and that is not having a strategy to be consistent. I think there are a lot of people that I have talked to. I actually had a mentor session with a girl in our mastermind group yesterday, and she was talking about how I want to do Instagram. I want to post things. I want to get my name out there. I want to do that, but I just feel overwhelmed, and I analysis, or paralysis by analysis, right? That's the phrase, paralysis by analysis, because she's looking at it and you're like, I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to go or what everything. And my advice to her was just start somewhere. Take small steps. If that's post one time a week, if it's like what Josh is saying, post one time a month, what is going to work for your brain and your business and what you want to accomplish? And instead, we go through life running our things and doing all this stuff. And it's like, well, I haven't posted in a month, so I'm going to post a whole lot. And so you post for 3 days consistently in a row, and then you don't post for 2 months. And then it's back and forth. And so you're stifling the growth that you could potentially have as a business, because you don't have a strategy to be consistent. And being consistent over time is really, really going to take you further. So just take a small step. And John, I want to hear what you have to say. But before we do that, I want to talk about our friends over at MusicBed. And right now, if you go to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed and you click on that link there, they are doing one thing that is really, really cool. And that is a 14-day free trial where you can actually use up to 3 songs totally for free. So if you are interested in MusicBed, you've heard us talk about it for years and years. They are one of our loyal sponsors, and we love everything that they do there. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. Check out that 14-day trial. Also, John, they have launched this new AI search feature where you could put in a song of your favorite band that probably might not be on MusicBed because they're so mainstream, and they are going to find you music that is very similar in vibe and tone very quickly, lots of different choices. So they're doing some wonderful stuff over there at MusicBed. So again, that's howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. Okay, John, before we move on, I want to hear if you have anything to add to the strategy and being consistent idea, or if you just want to move on to the next point.
Oh, I want to talk about it real fast, because I think that this is what happens is we think, it's not really worth investing into now. It's like the whole 18-year-old, his dad saying, like, put $50 a month into your retirement. Just put $50 a month and you'll be set. And the 18-year-old is just like, I'll get to that later. What happens in our brand is the years just keep going by and we're not investing. We're not putting those little seeds of investment, and we can't reap the benefit of those seeds being planted. For Instagram, that might just be spending 10 minutes a day for a week just kind of gathering data, and those are the little seeds that you're planting in your business. Maybe that's all the time you have. But by being consistent and saying, I'm going to consistently spend the rest of 24 making 2 posts per week. One of them is going to be something I want to go viral, potential to go viral, and then one of them is something that would be a little more deep depth, educational, some tips, some tricks, things like that. I mean, you could go a lot of different, routes, but that's what I'm going to do to be consistent. And then I'm going to try to connect with one vendor in my area through DM a week. I'm just going to follow them. I'm going to comment on their posts. I'm going to send them a message and tell them they're awesome. I'm not going to ask them for work. We'll talk about that in another episode, but maybe that's what it is. But those little seeds will start to add up. I think Gary Vee had a thing where it was just like, I forget what he called it, but it was like basically spending 5 minutes a day just commenting on other people's posts, telling people that they're doing awesome, engaging with them, sending a DM just saying, hey, your work is awesome, and expect nothing in return and watch what happens. And so those little seeds that you can plant in your business over time are going to grow into something incredible. And if you'd been investing, the $50 a month from 18 to 65 into your mutual funds, you'd be a multimillionaire. And it's like, well, which $50 deposit really made me the millionaire? And it's like, all of them. The consistency is what won for you. And you've got to look and say, what is my goal with Instagram? Is your goal to impress other wedding filmmakers? Is my goal to just get a big number next to my name? And that's where I want to move into talking about our strategy in 2024. And for me specifically with John Bunn Films and with How to Film Weddings, our strategy is not how can we grow the biggest following. I want 10K followers. I want 20K followers, whatever it is. That would be nice. But like as we hit record on this, I think our How to Film Weddings is 9,500 or so followers, and John Bunn Films is like 8,900 or something like that. So I'm getting close to 10K on both of them. But the thing that we're most proud of is the people that follow us on both of those accounts are real people that care really about what we have to say. And my strategy is depth over width when it comes to the follower count. My strategy is how can I continually keep myself in front of not only potential clients, but potential vendor network, just staying relevant and in front of people and staying consistent in my story, staying consistent in 1 to 2 posts per week, my captions staying consistent, the types of depth posts that I'm doing are consistent. And so I'm just using this as a tool to get people to my website. And so my basic strategy is I'm not just trying to get famous on Instagram. I'm trying to get people from awareness all the way through my funnel to purchasing from me, or at least referring me to other people. Nick, what do you want to add about strategy in 2024?
Right. I think one of the cool things about strategy in 2024, and we're actually going to cover some of these over the next few weeks, is that different businesses and different people can have different thoughts and different purposes in what they are doing. I know some people are using Instagram pretty much solely for like a more on the network side of thing. They're showing their portfolio and they're, connecting with their clients and that sort of stuff, but they're more so using it as, okay, I'm going to post this video and then make sure that I collab with the planner, or I collab with the venue, or I collab with these other people. And so they are using the video that they are is more of a networking thing. There's other people that are doing it for awareness, where they're trying to just get people to see them, and they're maybe doing it organically, just posting lots of stuff that is in line with their brand, or they're doing paid ads. And then there's the, just being yourself, growing your brand that way. I think of someone like Bottle Brush, who is uniquely themselves and who is going to be, and they are spreading the awareness of who they are as a brand, and that's their strategy. And one of the cool things about Instagram in 2024 is it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. You can run your business how you want to do it. You can have a different strategy than John. You can have a different strategy than me, and that's okay. Like, you don't need to do the exact same thing that we are doing in our businesses and stuff. So that's a really cool thing that I'm excited to dig into a little bit over the next few episodes. John, before we wrap up here, you actually asked in our Facebook group, how important is Instagram to your business? Because, we can have our thoughts and we can have our ideas on the importance of Instagram. But, I just wanted to read a couple of these. I copied and pasted a few. And then, maybe give me your impression or give me your thought, or, something on that. And if you find any more, feel free to add. But Adam Eubank said, honestly, frightening, important, definitely my strongest lead source currently. And then Kathleen Hamilton commented under that, and she was like, I hate how important it is for leads for me. More than half of my leads come from it. So, John, hearing that, it is a big lead generation for some people, and they love it for the leads, but then they hate that it's this platform that they don't own that is what they're getting their leads. So what do you have to add to those statements?
Yeah, it is frighteningly important to a lot of us, and we've seen it a couple times where like Instagram went down for the day or whatever, and it just really showed to me how important it is to build a strategy, which is what we're going to talk about in one of the future episodes here, of getting people from your awareness that you exist into your either inbox or at your website, or downloading something so they're on your email list. But it is important to our business, and to some people it's not, but it's frighteningly important to a lot of us, in the fact that this is where people find us now. When I first got going, people found us at bridal shows and on Google ads, Facebook page. That was pretty much it. Instagram didn't exist. And more attention. And if Instagram stops getting attention, then I will stop putting my attention there. But my couples, especially the bride's mom, are on Instagram searching for ideas and looking up things. And so, being the strongest lead source, for Adam, and then Kathleen saying, I hate how important it is for leads for me. More than half of my leads come from it, shows that a lot of awareness does come from Instagram. And I can guarantee that if a lot of your leads are coming from Instagram, you're spending a decent amount of time on it. So that's my initial thoughts on that. Nick, anything you want to add about that thought?
No, I just say Drake Cooper posted a photo that of the 300 and something leads that he's gotten from January of 2023, 250 of them were from Instagram, looking at his insights and all that kind of stuff. So for him, it is definitely something of value and something. And I think that this kind of leads into the next comment. These people like, oh, it's so important, I get lots of leads, right? And then our friend Brian Baldwin said, I have been putting almost no effort into Instagram this year so far. I've yet to get even one booking from it, and it just doesn't feel worth all the tireless effort that it demands. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are probably in a very, very similar boat. It's like, I'm not getting any inquiries. No one is reaching out. No one. And then I think my question is, like I asked Brian, is the reason that you're not getting inquiries from your Instagram and you're not feeling like it matters to post is because you're not posting, right? Like which one is it? Is it because you're not putting any content out there, or maybe it has to do with people that are regularly posting? What is the content that you're putting out there? Like, you need to ask those couple of questions. And I think that this kind of takes us back to that first, one of those problems that we're seeing is that people just aren't using it and aren't taking advantage of it. And again, I'm not saying Brian needs to spend hours and hours every single week, but I think it is important to have that presence on Instagram, because that is where so many people are in today's world.
And I saw a post that Brian made, I think a week or so ago, I forget which group it was in, but he was saying he just booked his highest collection to date. And I just wanted to also throw the other side of that out, to where you don't have to use Instagram. Like, you can grow your brand without Instagram. But I would assume that if Brian were consistently putting 2 posts out a week, showing his personality, focusing on an Instagram strategy, that more and more leads would be coming from it, creating more supply versus demand, which would cause his prices to go up even further. And I think about people like Brian with BSR Wedding Films, who is a friend of ours out in Texas, who has nearly 1 million followers on TikTok and several 100,000 on YouTube, 20 or so thousand on Instagram. And he is a genius about getting content put out on the internet that could go viral. He's so consistent. And the last I checked with him, he was like, my schedule's completely full. I need to raise my prices. And so there's all kinds of different schools of thoughts. But, with Brian saying I've been putting almost no effort into it, that's probably what you're going to get out of it. Not that that's right or wrong, but I think that the thing that I would really say is know that about your brand. If you're not going to be putting time into Instagram, just don't, and put that same time into something else, like networking in person or paid ads or whatever it is, to get people aware of the fact that you exist. And so, Brian, it's a great comment. I want to finish, Nick, with the last comment that we've got here from Ryan Sims. With this question, how important is IG for 2024 for you? He said, very important between connections with vendors and how easy it is to share your work and collab posts with others for reach. It's crucial. And that to me is what I wanted to end on, because I think that the tools of Instagram, we didn't even talk about ManyChat, the automated DM service that, you could comment the word Instagram and we'll DM you a link about our Instagram guide. Things like that are really helping people get people off of Instagram and into their inbox. And that's huge. And then, like Ryan is saying, the connections with vendors. If you don't have any work on your page, if you're not showing up consistently, people just forget that you exist. And as our episode with Lindsay from Larev last week, when we were talking with him, he's just saying, hey, I'm near the top. I've got one of the top brands in the world, but I still am at networking events. I'm still using social media to connect with people. I'm still putting out collab posts and texting the planners and saying, hey, if I post this, does this work for you? Does this caption work for you? And that's something that the connections that we can make, and that's what we're looking for, is connections with the right people. I don't know of a better tool, especially an online tool, to get that kind of connection than with Instagram.
Yeah, that's all really good. I think that one thing that we've shared time and time again was, Elaine from KEJ, saying that it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And I think that collab posts and being on Instagram and continually showing up, like, that's going to be so crucial and so important for moving forward in your business, is just showing up in front of people and having them recognize and see you and all of that. So, John, thanks for hanging out and spending and recording with me. I'm really excited about this Instagram is the Best series that we are doing. Next week's topic, we are going to talk about Instagram is the best for networking. And so we're going to talk about the networking side of things and how we can go about using Instagram to network. Make sure that you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Instagram and download that free 10 prompts for growing your Instagram audience. We've put something together that can help you, if you use those prompts, can help you grow your audience a little bit. That is all we have. Thanks so much to our sponsors of this week's episode, Music Bed and Bride and Groom, for being a part of that. We appreciate them, and make sure you go to our website, howtofilmweddings.com, and check them out. John, as always, it has been a pleasure to hang out with you. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, we will see ya.
See ya.